Hey, what's up? It's DJ. Today we're going to be breaking down all of the clips having to do with fishing from FarmCon 25, including fish productions, aquaculture, the handling and transportation of goods, and offshore fisheries, which, to be fair, basically the aquaculture. This is part 2 of my series breaking down everything that we know from FarmCon, including boats, fish, and equipment. So if you want to see those other 2 videos, check out the expansion playlist, link down below. So in order to get some fish, we've got a couple different things that we can do. We will definitely want to be getting some fish food. So here you can see some fish food, which has been loaded up onto an AgriLiner trailer. This fish food will need to be unloaded, and it will need to be placed by this guy over on the left-hand side of the screen. It kind of looks like a rice production a little bit, one of the rice greenhouses. However, it's basically a fish greenhouse. And there's fishes in there. You can also see we got some pallets outside already. Those are the young fish. We got salmon and trout, at least confirmed right now. So we place down the fish food, and that will feed our little baby fishies. Boom, and there it goes. Now going into the production here, you can see this section here, and I'm gonna stop this just for a moment so we could take a look at it. Up here at the top left, we see the FS25, which is a different production that we've shown off in the equipment. However, fish breeding is the production that we're showing here. And yes, it is a production chain. We have young salmon and young trout. What we do is we put in fish food, and then we get out these young salmon and young trout. Taking a look at this, inputs are going to be 10,000 liters for all of the above. So you can see in young salmon, we have 34 liters in there right now out of 10,000, not making any trout, but this is how you're going to get these guys. Now with the production, you can see inside, we've got all the fish swimming around, which is very, very cool. Fish food is input as well. We got 5,900 liters, at least in this clip, and well, that's kind of it. You could place down a couple of these if you would like. Of course, it runs like a normal production. And then out here, you can see we've got young salmon. We have salmon on the side of it, so the icons are going to be a little bit different per pallet, just so you know which one is which. And because it's a pallet, we have to, again, load them up onto the trailer. Once we've got everything loaded up, then we can strap it all down, and then we've got to head down to the docks. And this is where we get to add in our aquaculture. So this is a brand new section into the game, aquaculture. This is going to be in the productions, and it looks like it's going to be right after generators, I think. I can't remember what order these go in. Nonetheless, we do have a couple controls at the top. Place item, toggle free mode, customize, toggle snapping, and zoom camera. Yes, you can customize these. So as we drag it out, it looks like they're rotating the item now. And then we're going to get into the customization. So production site right here, we have a 1x2. So it is one row of 2 of them. Then we can go from there. 2 of 2, which gives us 4. And then a 3x2, which gives us 6 of them. You can also see in the smack dab center, we have a dock. So we will be able to dock our boat right there, bring things in and all kinds of stuff. That also looks like it's got a outline on it. So that could be as well where our stuff comes from, which is very cool. Say pallets, stuff comes from. Pallets are spawned. That's what I meant to say. Speaking of pallet spawn, where my mouse is right now in the dead center, where their mouse is rather, that is where the pallets are going to go in. So that's where you put in fish food as well as your salmon or trout, so they can go from young to adults, which is kind of neat. Oh yeah, and there's a 4x2 there as well. They aren't crazy expensive, but it's enough. So just a heads up through there, looks like prices are going to start around $25,000. I think this one was $45,000. So there you go. This is a clip actually from the boat clips and sections where they're offloading the pallets. So if you want to see the boat video, definitely go check that out. One nice thing is pallet handling has been made a little bit easier and gives us something a little bit different to do. If you're using the crane on this, the cargo vessel, for example, we will be getting some different things. You'll see green things pop up there. There you go. where we can actually lift things by crane from now on. So that's kind of cool. Now we've got a much better idea of what things are looking like once we get over to the fish production. Obviously, you can see in a semicircle right there, we've got the place where we're going to be putting the fish food as well as the young salmon. And then we've got a really nice look right around here. He's going to turn, bam, right there. We get a really nice look of what looks to be where all of our pallets are going to be spawning. Now, this is going to be interesting, especially if our adult fish spawn right here, because that is just a little barge on the very side. So I'm not quite sure if you're going to be unloading anything there by hand. You could probably put the front of the boat down there right there. That might be a way to do that, the cargo ship, and then take your pallet fork down there. But I imagine the crane is probably going to be the way to go there, or if anything else, selling directly. Obviously, you're going to get more money if you don't do that, but that is one way to do it. Let's keep it moving. So down here, of course, you can see we've got our fish food, and then we've also got our young fish. Grabbing the crane, again, something we showed off in the boats video, and we may go into that in the equipment video as well. Swinging them around and grabbing a hold of our pallets. Again, as you can see, we get those green markers and then straps attached to that. That is going to be a manual thing, but doing it all is automatic. Bringing it in and dropping it down. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to do this any other way. I don't see any way to get up there with any other pallets, so this may be something that you may want to put this a little closer to shore than expected, because otherwise you're going to have to use a boat to do all of this. I wonder if there will be a way to do this without having to use a boat. That would be very interesting. And of course, here near the end, we get a much better shot at the place where you load everything in. And then we even have everything up at the top. Now, unfortunately, my screen is currently blocking out all the stuff at the very bottom, but we can see we've got fish food and young salmon in there. And this is the offshore aquaculture is what it's called. And we jump over to it, bam, and we get a really, really good shot at everything that we have here. So whenever we're loading in with this one, we have our fish food in, we've got our young salmon in, we've got our young trout in. This is more than the young fish breeding. We've also got here 20,000 liters of everything instead of 10,000. Inputs, fish food, young trout, young salmon, as we mentioned. Outputs are going to be salmon and trout, so it doesn't say adult, it just says these are the ones that you get. It looks like, at least for the salmon, we've got 20 fish food and 100 young salmon is going to be getting out 100 salmon. So it looks like the fish count stays exactly the same. You just gotta feed them. That makes sense, right? And our last clip that we're going to look at is really just an overview of the aquaculture itself around the outside. This is behind the area that we just showed off, and we're just kind of walking along the pathway here. So this is where I imagine if you wanted to dock, probably at the other end would be the best place. I don't know where the collisions are going to be with this, but I imagine they're probably going to be all over the place. And here, really, this clip, all it does is shows us the fish swimming around. That is it. So we can see all of the fish in the water swimming, and then we have our aquaculture, which is in here. This allows the fish to go from young adults, or younglings, to adults. It's kind of neat. One thing that we haven't seen yet is regular fishing, where you throw out the lure and then reel them in. I imagine that will be a thing, but having just one fish at a time, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out. Nonetheless, this is very cool, and it's still very creepy, and it's going to take a lot of getting used to be out in the water like this. Something like this would freak me out in real life. I love swimming, but I hate open water. So this is cool, but it still leaves quite a few unanswered questions. Number one, fishing off the shore, or fishing off of docks, or fishing just by hand with a reel and the rod. Do we need bait? How much is that gonna take? Is it one fish food? Does one fish food equal one fish? I don't know. There's another thing to talk about as well. Fishing from boats. We know that we're getting plenty of boats in the game, but can we fish all of those? Oh, did I take my headphones off? What just happened? There we go, that's much better. We do know that we're getting more than 20 new items into the game, and we'll talk more about those in speculation in the equipment video. However, with boats and things like that, how many of the pieces of equipment that we're going to be getting will be boats? Is it different? Is the boat equipment? Fishing for boats is super, super popular. So being able to fish off the side of a dinghy or a fishing boat, maybe there's fishing boats that we drive around and slowly accumulates fish. This could be very cool and it could be very awesome. I don't expect it to be as cool in the game. I do honestly expect it to just be fairly straightforward and quite limited at the end of the day. Most other things in Farm Sim are, so I'm kind of expecting that. Wants and expectations are very far apart with this expansion. However, I am extremely optimistic with this. There's still a lot that we don't know, so fishing in general still has a lot of unanswered questions. Is there only one type of aquaculture? Are modders going to be able to make their own? There's a lot of really cool stuff that could happen here, and at least for the expectation of coolness and being different, that I'm very excited about. Don't forget the Highlands fishing expansion for Farming Simulator 25 will be released on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025 for PC, Mac, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. Pre-orders are live right now, and you can pick up the expansion for $30 USD. But if you use my link in the description, you can save an extra 10% on the PC version. If you own the Year 1 Season Pass, you will receive the DLC as part of that, so no need to pre-order or anything like that. You'll be able to simply download the DLC on launch day. Included is a new map, Kinleg, based in Scotland. We have a new crop, onions. Highland cattle are being added, along with fish farming, and over 20 machines to farm on land and water, from new brands like Monosim, Can-Am, AgriSpread, and GT Bunning. For more information, check out the Highlands Fishing Expansion playlist, link below. So there you go. That's everything I got for you on fish today, coming from someone who doesn't fish in real life. Could somebody take me fishing? That would be awesome. Hey, hope you have an awesome day yourself. Man, fishing would be super cool. Let's go fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.